Okay, I will be the first to tell you that this is not a super unique video idea. I thought of it, and then I searched to see if anyone else had done it. Lo and behold, a lot of people have. There is no original thought anymore. Even still, I do what I want. And I thought that it would be fun to ask 3 Etsy psychics to predict and draw my future husband/soulmate and then share the readings with you. And one nice addition that I didn't really expect was that they also essentially give you a reading. They give you a description of the guy's personality and some other details, which really just adds to the experience. Also, just so we're clear, so we're on the same page here, I am generally pretty skeptical. Like, I want to believe in astrology and tarot and psychics and anything that gives humanity a sense of control in an otherwise pointless and chaotic universe. But I kind of lean more towards the thought that we're all just bags of flesh and bones hurtling through infinite space on a large rock. I am always open to being proven wrong, though. But I will say that if somebody were a real psychic, I feel like they would have to be face to face with another person in order to feel their energy and do a reading. I don't think even a real psychic would be able to do some sort of reading over the internet or via phone. Remember Miss Cleo?
Who asked you to go out of town? The stupid young one or the married one?
The married one.
That's what I thought. Don't go, you hear me?
Hmm.
And you know what? You're not listening to me because I see you going.
Scam. Let's get into it. I did print these out so that way I could have a more visible reaction on camera rather than just you seeing me react to an iPad screen. I did have to glance at these long enough to make sure that I got what I paid for and to print them out. But I did attempt to leave enough mystery so that I could have a more authentic reaction to seeing the face of my future husband for the first, second, and third times. Reading number 1. First of all, right off the bat here, reading number 1 is a lot of pages. My printer, there's cat hair on this, of course. My printer was really struggling to print this out. And I can also see that not only is it 20 pages, but it's also presumably handwritten on this person's astrology stationery, and then they just scanned it and sent it. So this was a burden for my printer, but let's just hope that it was worth it, that the printer made a worthy sacrifice in the name of helping me locate my soulmate. Okay, the first page is just giving a little bit of background about herself and letting me know the structure of the reading that I'm about to encounter in this next 20 pages. Page 2 is talking about the degrees of the Earth and planets, and that's a little bit too, I don't want to say scientific. That's a little bit too much math for me, so we're gonna skip past that. Look at this chart. This is a lot. I don't even know how to read this. I don't know what this is. Just showing me the darkness, showing me the void. Showing me the void. Is the void helping identify my soulmate? I hope so. Oh, okay. Okay. Oh, okay. So I see what's happening here. She starts with a very faint drawing, and then, it would help if I could turn the page. And then, it increases in visibility. Here he is! This is my future husband. Wow. He looks like a pretty generic man. He has hair. And he has eyes. There's 2 of them. Wow, she knows just my type. Actually, I shouldn't say that, because if a guy was otherwise handsome, but he had one eye and a cool eye patch, I could be into that. I mean, he looks fine. He looks like he has light colored eyes. I can't tell from this what color his hair might be because it generally looks lighter, but there's some dark strands in there. So it's, because this is a sketch, it's hard to tell. In order to really get a clear picture of whether his hair is light or dark, she would have had to do a lot more drawing. Okay, she does focus more on the facial features rather than the color or shadow or location of the hair. He is intelligent, affectionate, fearless, entrepreneurial, has great internal potential. Wow. Sometimes doesn't like routine activities, at times does not know how to admit wrong. I feel like she described a lot of people. Okay, this doesn't tell me how old he is. It just says that there's a high probability that his birthday was from February to May. So February, March, April, May. So like 4 months out of 12 months. So she has a like 30% chance of being right. For a number of reasons, the drawing may sometimes show a person as younger or older than their actual age. But in any case, the facial features will remain the same. That is a very important caveat, because you could just draw like a very old man or a young child and be like, well, that's the person, but I just can't predict their current age. They did look like that, or they will look like that at some point, but I do not know what they look like right now. Emotional compatibility is 70 to 80%. Our psychological compatibility is 70 to 85%. That's pretty high, but that is a 15% range. So I feel like that is quite a range there. And I wonder what the reason is for that. She does not say. Our spiritual compatibility is 80 to 85%, which means that he probably is also fairly skeptical of psychic readings and also thinks that we're on a large rock hurtling through space. What is this person's name? Oh, if she could give me that information, I could Google him and be like, excuse me, sir, but we are destined to be. Oh, she just tells me a high probability of what letters his name contains. She doesn't actually tell me his name. With a high degree of probability, name may contain letters G and X. What name has both G and X? Gussix. Zorg. What if he's an alien and his name is Zorg? Oh, I'm very excited for my alien husband named Zorg. He can explain those, like, astrograms to me, probably. She tells me that I'm very likely to meet him while shopping in a mall or shop. Our energy paths are in maximum contact through the next 4 to 6 months. I could meet this man by Christmas. That's very exciting. Maybe I'll meet him Christmas shopping. That would be like a Hallmark movie, and that would be delightful. So overall, the first reading had a lot of information and a lot of pages. So I think I got my money's worth for this one. The man is fairly generic looking, but I mean, he does look like a person. And I will say actually that I do appreciate the sketch-like nature of this, because a lot of these listings had very detailed, high-quality art drawings in the listing, and it made me think that I was going to get something that was clearly, like, ripped off the internet. But this does look like a sketch that a person feasibly could have done within 24 hours. So I am pleased by that result. Okay, let's move on to reading number 2. This one is comparatively much shorter, which is good because there was a lot of dense information in the first one. There were a surprising amount of numbers, and I am not a fan of math. I want my soulmate readings to be math-free. Although I imagine if I were really into astrology and charts and stuff like that, I might have actually appreciated those numbers, but I, as myself, did not. She gives me a description of his personality. He is very dedicated to his work, family, and friends. He's created a good life by challenging himself and setting goals while gaining satisfaction as he marks off his successes one by one. Your future husband is a high achiever and enjoys in-depth conversations of diversified topics. I'm trying not to mentally proofread this as I go because I'm like, oh, in-depth should have been hyphenated because it was used as an adjective and it's not hyphenated. But that is not the point of this psychic soulmate reading. Maybe my soulmate will appreciate my annoying focus on grammar. This man is very loyal. He places a great deal of importance on his family, but he won't put them above you, but rather will see you become involved in his world as you two move closer in friendship. I don't think friendship is what people are looking for when they purchase a psychic reading of their future husband. His demeanor is saturated in grace and poise, which is admired by those whom he engages with. He sounds way more fancy than me. Like with all of his career successes and his natural poise, and I'm sitting here like in my dining room talking to a camera about my 3 Etsy soulmate readings while wearing a shirt that says, "The void is calling and I must go." So this would be a really interesting match. Your future husband will enjoy the outdoors, from taking walks or sitting outside while sipping his morning coffee. I do like sitting outside while sipping coffee, but I feel like that is a common attribute for many people. This man might be forgetful at times and not remember special dates at first due to the fact that his mind is constantly preoccupied with work. Great. Don't let this put you off as not caring, for it's just his manner and you might need to gently remind him of what your needs are. I feel like this psychic really has this guy's back for some reason. Like she is really just making excuses in advance for his behavior. He is the type, if voices raise, he walks out the door. So if issues arise between you two, it's best to talk calmly and state that you need to discuss your concerns. So if we get into an argument and I get upset, it's on me to make sure that I keep my emotions in check, because he is then justified if he walks out the door if I start to raise my voice. Like, I understand it's not good to yell in a conflict. Like, yelling is not productive, but I just feel like this is putting the onus on me to modify my own behavior if I have, like, hurt feelings or if I'm upset, because this is just his nature that he doesn't like conflict. She's definitely siding with the dude in this, and we haven't even met yet. It's all about presentation with this man. He chooses to save engagements of battle for the work sector and not his personal life. So, wow, he doesn't sound that great. Like, initially, I thought he was goal-oriented. He sounds kind of like a workaholic. And, like, he's very stressed, and that it is my job as his wife to just generally be, like, docile and accommodating. I don't know that I'm really, like, feeling this dude. But let's see what he looks like. He also looks like a man with 2 eyes and the other standard facial features one might expect from a human male. I do appreciate that this is very clearly a sketch that a person could have reasonably done in 24 hours. It does not look like someone put a sketch filter over like a stock photo. It doesn't look like they just ripped something off the internet. So I do appreciate that quality of it. Let's move on to reading number 3. When I was visualizing your soulmate, I was met with a strong Leo energy as well as some Aquarius energy. I would be on the lookout for people with these star signs. There's only 12 zodiac signs. I do know that. There's only 12, so 2 out of 12, you're kind of like hedging your bets there a little bit. They're close to their family and have a tight-knit group of close friends that they rely and depend on. They enjoy spending time with these and values the time spent together. Okay, so the grammar isn't the best, but this person is very close with their family, which is what the previous reading said as well. They do their best to help those around them in any way possible. They're a very good listener and try to provide advice and support as needed. They strive for success in their career to help improve the life of those around them. They're an ambitious person and are constantly working towards their dreams. So, okay, goal-oriented. It sounds like a slightly better version of the second guy, because the second guy seemed like he was a little bit too goal-oriented, like maybe he was a workaholic, and that he had maybe more of like a high-strung personality. That was kind of the vibe I was getting. But this guy seems to be very driven and have focus on his career and some kind of goals, but without it being like his main character trait. So far, so good for reading number 3. They admire your good nature, of course. They're a loyal person and will do all they can to have a happy and healthy relationship without too many bumps in the road. Okay, well that's good. So there's not an indication that if we get in an argument, he is well within his rights to just walk out the door because I slightly raised my voice. They will encourage you to be who you are, and you will build each other's self-esteem. This sounds great. I'm really feeling guy number 3 here. This sounds like way better than guy number 2. And guy number 1, there was just so much information. I feel like I've already forgotten his main character traits. So guy number 1 is pretty forgettable. Guy number 2 seemed like a jerk. And guy number 3 is sounding pretty good so far. Although I am aware of the fact that, you know, they're all supposed to presumably be the same guy, because I presumably only have one soulmate that these psychics are seeing in their minds as they put together these readings. Okay, back to guy number 3. They're always on the lookout for new challenges and growing opportunities and take pleasure in constant learning and development. That also sounds pretty good. I think that sounds a little bit similar to me because I like trying new things. I like taking like little classes or seminars to learn more about various topics that I'm interested in. And I appreciate when, you know, someone else has the same drive to kind of learn new things and have new experiences in life rather than just kind of like being stagnant. They have darkish hair and blue eyes. They seem to be around average height, somewhere around 5'11". They seem to have a profession relating to food. Ooh, I hope that he is a chef or a baker. How awesome would that be? Oh my God, I would gain so much weight. I sense you will meet this person soon, within the next 10 months. I see you being friends before engaging in a more intimate relationship. So I'm going to meet this guy within the next 10 months. That is longer than the first reading said. Because I think the first reading said that it would be 4 to 6 months and that I would meet him shopping. But the profession relating to food is interesting because that is a very specific detail. She also gave me a height and a sort of hair color because she says dark-ish, and an eye color. That is very helpful, more specific information, and I do really appreciate that and really just lends to my preference for reading number 3. However, we still have to look at the photo The photo. Wow, if she had a photo of my soulmate, that would be great. However, we still have to look at the drawing and see what this guy looks like. So, are you ready? I'm ready. I'm ready to see guy number 3. Okay. I'll put a picture up on the screen because it's another one that printed out kind of small. But this one is interesting because the guy has facial hair. I mean, still a very generic man. The most non-generic thing about this particular drawing is the facial hair. His eyebrows seem very similar to guy number 1, actually. They're kind of that thick and straight across. The mouth is drawn a little bit oddly, but it does seem similar to the other drawings in just its general shape. Like, these guys all seem to have fairly average lips as opposed to like super full or super thin. They're also all pretty much Caucasian looking. They all look like white dudes of, I'm assuming, like a fairly average weight. So they all have that commonality between them. You know what? If I have a choice between all of these guys, I would pick guy number 3. Presumably I don't have a choice because they're all supposed to be the same guy who is my soulmate / future husband. But if I had a choice, if these were all 3 different men, if there are multiple soulmates in the world, I would pick guy number 3. So I will be on the lookout for him. If you know this man, if you have seen this man, if you are this man, please let me know so we can start planning our future wedding. Okay, so a few other notes. If you go on Etsy, you will see a number of different sellers offering this service. And I have a suspicion that some of them are multiple accounts that are connected with the same person, because if you read the description on the listing, some of them are very similar, pretty identical, right down to a specific detail about like learning this gift in Serbia. So just kind of be aware of that if you are going to acquire the same service for yourself. Also, some of the listings say that the drawing is imbued with their psychic energy and they ask you not to share it and not to show it to anyone. And I suspect that that is because they essentially have a portfolio of drawings that they use. And if people begin sharing the photos, that will become obvious because you will start to see some repeats. I do think that this would be a really fun game or a really fun activity for a party with a bunch of single girls, like an old school sleepover, but of course with alcohol. But as a skeptic who would just mostly want to create a fun experience for my friends, I would probably place the order for everyone all together and kind of give the psychic a heads up that this was for a party with a certain number of individuals. So that way the psychic would at least not reuse the same reading within that group. So that way it could be really fun and, 2 people wouldn't be fighting over the same soulmate. So ultimately, was this probably a waste of money? Yes, but I waste money on a lot of different things all the time, like a ton of novelty t-shirts. So it was a fun experience. I had fun. Hopefully you had some amount of fun, watching me do this. I did get what I paid for. I feel like if you are looking for a soulmate reading, like if you're open to that, if that's a thing that you want, any one of these would be very satisfactory for that purpose. Some people might really like the super long 20-page one that gives all of these like very specific celestial details, or you might be like me and prefer the more concise versions that just kind of give descriptions of the person and their personality and their appearance. I definitely prefer guy number 3 if I have a choice. Again, guy number 2 seemed like a workaholic and kind of a jerk. And then guy number 1 has already been completely forgettable. He just seemed like very generic.